Back
Hey,
again.
Hey everybody. Okay, so we just started the broadcast. It is Friday, November 13th, 2015, right? About what, 6 or 7 weeks left in the year. And the fun we've had this year, Free Hands Friday. And today we've got Kevin Cason, who's going to be basically doing I guess like a song learn session where he knows specifically how to play one song, and we'll have some questions. And at some point, Kevin, we'll just turn you loose with it, and you can let us know how you approached it and how what you think is best for people who are beginning or experienced. I always like this song, and I can't wait to learn it.
good man, good. All right, what we'll do now? I'll go through the song once. I've got all my effects off to try and make it as clean as possible. I got a bit of verb on there, but I gotta have verb on there. I gotta have some sort of effect on there just to juice it up a little bit. But I'll play the song through, and then, like I was saying before, when just before we went live here, I'll concentrate on the bass part, the bass chords of this tune, because I'm going to assume that everybody has an ear for melody, and you'll be able to figure out the melody part on your own. And I don't even know if you can see down here because of the all of our faces might be blocking it out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that is the case, Kev. So what we may need to do is it possible to move back a little bit?
Yeah, I can move back, or I can move this back. Let me try this.
Yeah, whichever works. It'd be good to expose as much of the fretboard as we can. So if you can angle that down a little, even.
Angle it down, try that. Stand by.
Yeah, get this just right. Okay, I think that's pretty good right there. Oh, and the fire in the background. Snuggle me.
You see, eh?
All right, go play.
Okay, one more thing. I can't tell anybody. I can't teach you independence. That's just gonna come from just brute practice force, right? That's just how it works.
Yeah.
It's just how it works.
Well, let's do
this.
Play through.
I'm sorry.
Show
What's
us like the chorus, like the verse and the chorus, right? Like just play it straight through. Just like let us hear it in its entirety, and then then we'll break down each part. Is that cool?
Yeah. Can you see the melody side now?
Yeah, really well. Actually, I think we might need to tilt it up a little, so because we're losing a little bit of the left hand, and I know you wanted to focus on that today. All right, there we go. Right about there. About there? A little more.
It's in a music stand right now. This thing.
Perfect. There it is. That would be it right there. It's a little okay. Yeah. All right. We'll just go with that. It's Hollywood. All right.
Can you hear this? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I won't turn the volume up. I won't at all. Here we go. song, 2.5 minutes. You gotta love them.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I don't know
I love
if
the
you mean I got a new frame every 2 seconds.
What's that?
The sound sounds fluent, but the image is 1 frame per 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're getting a little bit of a performance hit right now, which is to be expected, but that's okay. Hopefully when we go back to look at it, if we rewatch it, we'll be able to catch the performance in its entirety. And that's just, it's harder to draw the video than it is to move the sound through the ether magic. So.
Magic, the interwebs.
Yeah, interwebs, right?
It's tough.
So, yeah, but it sounded great, and I really enjoyed it, and I think that, apart from being free hands, which is, I think, kind of cool, like, so this song appears in the Free Hands book, in Emmett's Free Hands book. So I think it adds a little kind of extra added, kind of it's a pleasure playing it. It's fun playing it. I really like your interpretation. So now, is this one of the David Tipton tunes that have been adapted and that you've arranged for?
Yes, it is. It's pretty much note for note from what David has done, and even stealing all the tricks he does too. Like David primarily plays the 8th note motor. That's his motif really for most of the stuff that he plays. I know he goes outside that box, but that's basically how he plays most of his song. That most of his tunes are that underlying motor that drives the song forward, and those are those 8th note chord arpeggios, I guess they're called, right? So the first chord, I'll start with the first chord there for you guys who know your chords or whatever. Don't know your chords. It's an E minor. The root. It's a root 5 minor third. Second chord is an A, so that's a root 3 octave. Third chord, same shape, move it up to a C position. Root 3 octave. The fourth chord is a G, and that's a root 5 3. And that you'll hear that go around a few times during the song. So it's again like this. One more time. Now at the end of that intro there, he does a little kind of hammer up type of thing. Where he'll go from the root 5, and he'll hammer up back to the 5. He gets a lot of mileage out of that. He does it all the time. It's a really nice little trick that I've stolen from him.
It's a very expressive part in the left hand. That part in particular is very expressive in the left hand, and when that's played against the melody, it sounds very rich in terms of like the rhythmic dynamic. Yeah, I really like that.
Are you on standard tuning?
Match reciprocal, but if you're tuned standard, the bass side is the same as a standard stick. So the only thing about the melody side is I think am I 2 frets up or 2 frets down? I think I'm 2 frets down. I can't remember, but it's match reciprocal for me.
All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we got the intro. So the first, I guess, this song is weird. It doesn't have a bridge. It starts with a chorus and then moves into a verse, then back to the chorus and the verse. So it starts with the chorus. I'm not going to play the melody right now. I'm just going to introduce those 2 notes to start it, so you can decipher what the bass, the left hand is doing. So those first 3 chords are a G, then an F sharp minor 7. I love that fucking chord. Followed by a B7. And together they sound really nice. Beautiful. So again, and he does a little slide here. Slides down from that G to the F sharp. Back to the E minor. Back into the intro. Again, it repeats. I'll do it super slow this time, if you want. If you don't, I'll just fucking play it through. I'll do it slow, so you can hear the individual notes. And I know that the camera's a bit far away from the stick, and it might be difficult to tell what exactly my hand is doing. Back to the intro. I'll introduce the melody of that so you can have some sort of reference to what I'm doing here. I'll play the melody part of that. Perfect fourth there. So together again, let me see here. That's the chorus. Let me have a drink. Here. All right, so the verse starts on that lovely F sharp minor 7 chord. Oops, sorry. Again, I'll break that down again. So F sharp minor 7. B7, then E with a foot, E with a fifth, D with an octave, a C with an octave, back to the intro. All right, so I'll introduce the melody for that. 10 string, you can still play this song. And I'll show you the difference again right now. And it only comes around during the verse. So if you have a 12 string like I do, here's how I play the verse section. The difference being, if you don't, your 10 string guys, you don't have this string here, this top one. You top out right here on this string. So I'll play it like I would if I had a 10 string.
Oh, that'd be great.
Everybody get that?
Yeah. Yeah, so let me talk about that for a second. Yeah, what makes it sound so great certainly is the fluidity in your left hand and and it's interesting because we all know the melody. We know how that goes. It's almost like that's like playing the bass line. And then this left hand has all this space to express and accentuate. That's kind of how I'm reading that, right? Because like you've got two things going on at once. You usually got a motor going, right? People talk about the motor, and you see that in Freehands Friday recur that term. So the melody, it's almost like you just kind of feel the melody, and then you get to express yourself in your left hand, which is kind of how I interpret that, which is really fun to watch.
Yeah, and when I'm learning stuff, even be it from David or just something that I'm trying to cop a new pop song, I don't worry about the melody right away. I work on the accompaniment first, and I don't. There's a tendency to want to start fucking around with the melody right away.
Mm-hmm.
I get that out of my mind because that's the more you work on the accompaniment, the easier it'll become. It'll become fluid. You won't have to think about it too much anymore, and then you can go and work on the melody side as a separate entity, and then you dovetail them together when you feel you're ready to do it, right?
Right, and there's different ways of going about that, right? I mean, like they're two different hands, they're doing two different things, but when they kind of meet, right, when the like skin meets the metal in the wood, it's like, or whatever, anodized aluminum, it sounds like one instrument, and so you have to think of it and approach it in your mind with two different ranges and two different options and two different roles. But when it comes to the instrument, it sounds like, like to the listener, right? And this is, I think, kind of important, right? It sounds like one instrument. It sounds unified, and it has that unique ringing sound. And this song's great.
It's a funny thing you mentioned that, Gene, because Rob was over to the house just the other day, and we talked about that, how you learn two parts separately, and you put them together, and then it does actually become, I hate to say this, one big guitar. And that's how I try and play it, but that's, again, I hate to say that, but it does turn into one big giant animal after that, right?
Yeah. I would totally agree. And like a guitar or bass or, piano, right? It's like a piano drum guitar bass.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I, because like, right, we have heard like tens of hundreds of stick players, and so you know how different people approach it. And the ones that are, I hate to say it, the ones that I enjoy the most are the ones that don't sound like a stick, right? Like it just sounds like this instrument. You can't really tell what it is, right? And that's what I love about kind of the mystique or the mystery of the stick, is that it can fit into these different roles so easily. And so when it blends like that and it feels like, maybe like a 7-string bass, right? It's got those high registers, and it just sounds beautiful, right? And you've got those sounds that are playing unisons that carry over and create that unique sound, right?
Right.
So here's a question I have. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I have a couple questions for you. We can kind of hand this off and stuff and kind of see how people feel about it. But it's something that I think about when I'm playing or when I'm learning a new song. And so that's the structure of the song. And so you start up with the structure of the song. And so it's good to kind of go over that unique kind of structure. Maybe there's just like one simple change, like they go right from like a bridge into a verse or a chorus, whatever it may be. There's something that makes that song unique. I know it was that way with Norwegian Wood, right? So, like, that's good to know the structure and then how you're approaching it. So, the question I have for you is, would you be able to, like, perform this with a singer?
You know what? I wouldn't want to, because he's going to phrase that melody slightly different than I phrase it, and I phrase it slightly different from David's version. But if there was a singer, he'd be stepping all over me.
Okay, so now back it up, and let's just say like that this is like a family member that asks you, that says, Kevin, I love the way you play this song. Will you please let me sing it? Right? So so regardless of what you think or what your attitude may be about it, Mr. Cason, like, let's just say, right? Or let's say, Paul calls you up and he's like, hey, Kevin, I need someone to cover the parts, and he's going to sing it, right? So, like, that's kind of the challenge to you is, like, could you chord it in the right hands?
Oh, well, yeah, I could just leave this hand out, right? But that's not my goal. Yeah, I can play the whole song.
Okay.
Without doing anything with this hand.
Okay.
Yes,
all right, yeah.
Yeah, I could do that, but I don't want to do that at all. Right?
Okay, well, I'm proposing this question. It sounds like it wasn't one of your goals, which is fair enough. But sometimes, like other guys, right? Like, they're a bassist in the band, right? So, their role will be to, kind of accommodate that and to be kind of pliable and to be able to play different roles. Like if you were playing with another guitarist, there's a whole nother question you have to take. And so it's just the kind of like perspective I'm just kind of trying to throw out there. You're more of a soloist, it seems, right, Kevin?
I would. For me, I don't want anybody to mess with my shit. And that means that I would play with a guy with a cajon box.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't want a pianist or a guitarist or a bass player or share my space. But play with a guy that plays one of those boxes that you sit on, whatever the fuck they're called, the cajon boxes. That's
right.
That's where I'd stop.
A cajon.
Yeah.
A cajon?
Yeah,
is that
cajon, yeah.
Cajon? Okay. Yeah, well, and those are a good mix. You know who does that is Dave Broski, who I should actually invite to this. I forgot to invite him.
Yeah.
Find him. Yeah, so he plays with a guy that plays cajon, and actually I think he doubles on sax. Like, I've always wanted to say that, right?
Yeah. You're playing in that tent somewhere. It's awesome. Like, that instrument, the cajoni, whatever the hell it's called, it's the
cajon.
Real... It plays with this one, really.
All right. Good times. Well, how long did it take you to learn that one?
What else can I do? Do I need more details?
Well, yeah, definitely. Well, I suppose, yeah, kind of the things I was kind of trying to throw at you is just playing different roles with the stick, right? So, like, when you approach the instrument, like, there's so many different ways. The stick is so versatile, right? We were saying this, right? Like, and it seems like the left hand it's almost like a duet with a bass and a guitar. The way that's being approached,
It is a cross, and you're trying to, at least I am, and I think David's doing the same thing, and a lot of stickers are, you're trying to, it's a compromise. We can play two parts on the stick, unless you're Bob Culbertson and you got your thumb and your toe up there. It is kind of a compromise between what is the best accompaniment over top of or underneath that melody, right?
Love it.
And you gotta find it. You gotta find those notes. You gotta find those chords to carry that song forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like the melody carries the song forward, but you gotta have the right accompaniment underneath to drive the beat, right? Keep that motor, keep your motor running.
Yeah, and it just like in that one, and I've seen cats like Dave and Bob do this, where it seems like they're really leading with their left hand, and they're so comfortable with those higher registers in the left hand that it becomes part of the melody, and they're playing the melody off those higher strings, which are usually like roots and thirds. Like it varies, but you would never like flush out like a 9-chord, or maybe you would. People have different approaches and different tunings and more options than us 10-string guys, but it is fun to see how those higher registers in the left hand play off the melody, right?
And here's another point, Gene, is sometimes you can't, for some reason or whatever, you can't get that melody note in the right hand because it's busy doing another line of melody. But often you can find that note on the bass side, and so the melody don't there, so it's covered in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so let's use what else I wanted to ask you. So you've kind of broken up the bass side and the melody side for us pretty nicely. Yeah, those are the only things that I had. Yeah, I had structure, approach, bass side, melody side. How would you do with the vocalist? How would you do with the band? And how would you do as a soloist? And it sounds like you're pretty comfortable in the solo role, and like a percussionist would really be ideal. Something expressive that could be played at a low volume.
Yeah, that's where I would with playing with somebody else would be just a guy playing percussion. Other than that, no guitars, no basses, no pianists, no anything else, no kazoo players. No
Stay out of your stuff.
players.
Okay. Yeah, we got it.
Which I find that interesting because I come from the opposite side where I find my role as the stick player is to support everybody else. So there are times that I wouldn't be playing as much. I might be the bass player one night, but I might be just playing on a melody another time with another artist. So the one thing I can't do is really play it solo, oddly enough. That's something I've been working on over the last year.
Jason, do you desire to play in a solo fashion?
Yeah, I had a break from playing stick for a good sort of 14, 15 years. So it's only in the last year I've come back, and it was nice to start off with a clean sheet of paper, really, and sit down and ask myself how I want to approach this instrument, because originally I was the bass player.
Right.
So you always came from the bass side of things first, and then fortunately I was with a band that really liked what the stick was doing, so therefore I could expand on that, and then I had more melody side, and then with reverbs and stuff there was a bit more of an ambient thing going on, and obviously around 495 that was the time that David Sylvian and Robert Fripp were doing their thing with Trey, and then obviously King Crimson with the Thrax stuff after that. So I was my ears were quite large. I was listening to a lot of stuff where there was lots of different things going on that the stick was doing. So I was taking in a lot of influences then. But now I'm looking at things as a soloist, and when I started thinking in that way, the challenge was to think of tunes that I liked that I could practice with. So the first one I plucked out was a piano tune that I wouldn't have considered originally when I was playing stick, and that was The Way It Is by Bruce Hornsby and the Range. Because it's actually just a really nice melody line. Yeah, it is. It's brilliant, and it actually transfers really well to stick.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, so that's right. So it's like different ways of approaching it, and the reason. So this happened to me, right? Where you're playing music and you're doing your thing, and knew that I don't know why, and they wanted to sing it, and I was doing the intro and everything was going great, and then it came time to play, and I kind of, Kevin, I did what you did, which is like, what are you doing with the melody? Like, I got this. Like, and then I realized, I'm like, yeah, they're doing the words too. So like, you have to kind of yield, right? And so, Jace, this is what you were talking about, where it's kind of like you have to kind of back off, and so it's just kind of a situational thing, and like, like part of being, like successful with music is like anything in life, right? You got to do a little improvising, and you have to just have that kind of familiarity with the key, with the instrument, with the song, with the scenario, with the place that you're playing, and then support this wild card variable that is a vocalist, that may or may not know the words, or reading it off paper, whatever it is. So kind of fun to speculate there, like with learning songs.
I think sometimes you have to say...
Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
No, I think sometimes you have to say no to vocalists. I've played in bands where someone wanted the Godfather to sing, and I reluctantly said yes, and he was horrendous. So it was just like, just do a recording track, don't get me to play with you, right? So, anyway.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it happens.
And it's hard as like a bassist or guitarist, sit back the whole time and just be like, I'm supporting this.
In case you're using a vocalist, can you just use a different kind of variation of the right hand, just doing chords?
Personally, I couldn't do that. I can't, like, when I learned everything I learned is very structured and put together in a way that I just couldn't change it up on the fly. I'm just not that good of a musician. I do everything copy style. I parrot everything. So everything that I play is very structured. So if someone came up and said, hey, can you leave out the third here, or do this or do that? I'm like, no, man, I can't. Grab your guitar and get out of here. Leave me alone.
It's interesting. I was rehearsing with some friends on Wednesday, and that setup was a cajon, 2 acoustic guitars, a ukulele, and myself.
Oh, wow.
And obviously, that can get quite busy. The interesting part was that their original backing singer had left. So what I ended up doing was filling in what would have been backing singer melody lines with the melody side. So they're only like single notes. There weren't really anything, I might just be droning a note where the singer would sing the phrase over what was going on. So there was one song where I kicked in, I've got an electro-harmonics microsynth, I kicked that in, and the guys loved it.
Oh, yeah.
So you're always trying these things, and sticking them in and saying, obviously there's occasionally you get that look of, that you just sort of ruin their song, and then you back off again, and then you try it again, and you back off a bit. And then by the end of the night, everyone's sort of fairly happy with what's going on. So,
right on.
But the way I approach the stick now is I've got 5 1/4 octaves and 10 strings, and what happens in between that is really can change from day to day depending on what the situation is. So I'm quite happy to sit in there and play with anybody now. I really don't mind what sort of stuff they're doing or how big the band is. I know that there'll be an avenue for me to play music in there somehow, whether it's as a bass player or a sort of folk guitar player, because I certainly would never call myself a guitar player. But the guy said, I need a bass player. And I said, okay, I'll bring the stick. And they just went, okay. And there was that hesitance, because they know me as a bass player, and they know me as the guy that does the thumb slapping and all that. But I took the stick, because I'm really not interested in playing bass guitar. And they said, no, that fits perfectly. By the end of the night, they were happy.
With this instrument, I don't have the ability I couldn't go in and sit in with a band even and play bass on it. I don't have that ability to do that, to sit in and improvise. I can somewhat because I'm a nerd. But with this thing, everything I do, like I couldn't bring it to a gig and then play Sunshine of Your Love or sit in with a bunch of guys. I'm not there yet. I don't
But
even know if I ever will.
I think that's what's beautiful about this instrument. Some guys play it solo. I mean, the one chap that really got me interested in it was Jim Lampy, and hearing him play solo.
Mhm.
You know, and he's amazing playing solo. And then when I got my first stick, I was every time I ordered strings, I'd order 3 or 4 CDs as well. So I was listening to Bob Culbertson, and then Greg, and then obviously Emmett himself, Don Schiff. Don's great; he's brilliant as well. So you know, but at the same time, I think the stick's one of those instruments that can support other musicians in pretty much any way possible.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I'm just not. I just don't.
Don't get me wrong here. I couldn't do what you did. I really couldn't. And what you played was fantastic. It was lovely.
It's easy. Anybody can do it. It's easy.
It's true. It actually is. I mean, anyone can do it. Like with enough just time and effort. And you know, I've really enjoyed, you know, like kind of Kevin's rise, the rise of Kevin. You know, where it was like. You'd never, like, you were like still working on like a song, and then it was like 2 songs, and now I'm like seeing on the dry erase board you've got like 9, and you're just like checking them off, man. I'm just like, wow, look. And then I like went onto your site the other day, and there were like songs in there I hadn't even seen, and I think it was Reintroduced to Mad World, which is like such a cool tune. I'm pretty sure that was one that you had done, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun to see, and like just, you know, like. Seeing the new videos is cool, especially when you like. I didn't know they were there, so seeing lots of new songs, and so maybe talk a little bit about that. Like, what helps you learn a song faster? Like with this song, it seems like it's pretty easy for you. You know, like what was there one thing about it, you know, that helped you learn it more quickly?
Not in this particular case. I thought it would be easy enough for me to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've watched some of David's tunes. I can't learn anything from Greg Howard because just Greg's stuff is too damn difficult for me to play. But I take some of David's tunes and I'm like, yeah, I think I might be able to learn that if I slow it down and break it down and learn the parts separately. But there wasn't anything about this particular song that I've always loved the tune, but there wasn't anything about the particular song that made me. That I thought would be. What was the question again?
Well, it seems like you play it with such fluidity, and so it seems like you've played it a long time. Or there's, you know, like you have like a trick, right? You know, like for me, like my new trick, right? My new trick, something that I figured out, is it's just ridiculous that I haven't really thought about it. Is like I'm not only training my hands, right? I'm not only training my hands. I'm training my fingers and my thumbs and my knuckles. I'm training my wrists and my elbow. There's all these things that go into training or, you know, learning a song, what I consider training. And people talk about hand-eye movement, and you're so focused on the fretboard, you forget, right? Just something little, like there's a movement where you lead a phrase with your first finger or your second finger, which then allows you to get to the next part successfully. And if you don't, the next part comes up kind of weird when you go to play the chord, and you're like, I wasn't able to fret that the way I'm used to. And so, you know, like, learning is not just limited to the hands or the elbows or the wrists or the knuckles, but also to the neck and to the eyes and to the ears and everything that you're doing. And the reason I say that is that when there's a certain piece that I'm working on right now, and what I've trained myself to do is to look at my left hand at a certain time. So there's a big jump, right? And so, like, part of playing the song is not only, you know, fingers on the frets, but like actually where I'm looking at a certain time. And so, you know, at some point, someday, I'll be able to play that without looking once I've played it long enough. But until then, that becomes part of the practice. And that's what I see with your new songs. It's like you're kind of in this groove with the left hand where that part is like, you know, the melody, right? The melody is the motor in this case, you know, and it looks like all the expression, certainly that, not to say that the right hand was without expression, because you're doing trills and you're playing like variations and stuff like that, but that's just kind of how I interpret that. And so it's fun to hear, and kind of hear how, you know, like, hear you put it into words.
Right. I agree with what you said there about and Gene, you're like me. I kind of have to look what I'm doing a lot. But once I get into a position, like if I get into a position, and I'll take a look at where I am, then I can actually look away. But I still have to look down once in a while. Like if I go from that F sharp minor 7 to the B7, I don't have to look. But when I go down, I gotta take a peek, right?
Yeah.
I gotta take a look here.
Yeah. That is cool, man. I love hearing those parts like separate and then together. They sound great, Kevin. Really great, like delivery on that. Just clear. Everything's really nice.
Cool, man.
Kevin,
Yep.
when you're learning a tune, you learn it by ear, then, right? Mostly. And
Yeah.
do you use the software on all your songs, or like what's that software called again?
Amazing Slowdowner.
Do you use it on every song or just on some?
Just on David Tipton ripoffs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I've been working on a Vance Joy song called Riptide. It's a really popular pop tune right now, and you've probably all heard it. For that, in that case, I'll just go to I'll find a chord chart online, what the chords are, and translate those chords to the stick, and then the melody I got a decent ear, I can pick the melody out, right? So I only use that Amazing Slowdowner for the Tipton stuff, and maybe I think I use it for the Piano Man. I'm still working on Piano Man. It's a work in progress. But for intricate lines and stuff like that, or where I'm trying to hear what the hell he's playing, I gotta slow it down and loop it and loop it and loop it. It's a great program.
Another good tool for that is one that called Loop the Tube, which is just a free URL. And basically, what it'll do is it'll go out and snap up the URL, and then it will, it's open source, so it looks for a parameter where a song starts and stops, and you're able to enter that in there. And the interface is a little kludgy, but you get used to it. I was trying to learn Peg for like the longest time, and I have it in kind of like a barely working format, but you can use that I was using it to loop that intro and hear those parts and kind of get the separation, and another cool too. But is Amazing Slowdowner, is there a cost for that? It's probably like $5, $10 or something?
Yeah, it's about $5 or $10 at the Apple Store.
Oh, okay.
It's great. I can take everything that's in my. I'm looking at you guys through my iPad right now, which is basically my everything, and all my songs are on there. Once I get to, if the Amazing Slowdowner is on your iPad, you can go to your music library and import anything from your library into the Amazing Slowdowner right from there, or Dropbox, whatever. But it's a kind of a one-stop deal for me, this device.
That's good. Yeah. So go ahead.
There's an app on I don't know if you can see it, on the iPhone. It's the overall on Cube Jam, which actually you can input. You know this?
No.
You can actually mix yourself, and also there's, if you can see it, there's a speed button here, which you can slow down it up to 50%.
Okay.
Or change scale.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
That's
it's
another thing you can. With the Amazing Slowdowner, it has the ability to change up and down pitch. You can go up a whole octave or down a whole octave. So if you're slightly out of tune, or the guy's using a capo, you're recording the tune on an acoustic, and you can adjust for that. So, and I do that.
I had to change my tuning when I was learning. Oh, you'll love this, Kevin. What is it? Back to the Old House.
Oh.
Like back to the old house, and it's like so like sad and somber. And I was like trying to play the melody, and I was like, it's the only one song of the week where I didn't play the melody. I was like, I'm just gonna play the guitar part. That was the only song, like a whole year of songs, and the only melody I really couldn't nail. And I just learned the guitar part. Was Back to the Old House by the Smiths. It was week number 5, man. And I tell you, I just stepped away from it because the melody is so challenging to play. And I sometimes wonder if I'd used these tools, it would be any different.
Yeah, I love that version that you did there, and I think there actually might be 2 guitars going on in that thing. So maybe you actually did learn 2 parts, man. Isn't it great being a stick player? It's like I can hit that. It seems like you're saying like this compromise. It's kind of like I call it a negotiation where, you 80%, 85%, and then you don't sweat it. And I remember reading some stuff on the Stickist about people who separated left and right hand, like they learned the left part, but they couldn't get the right hand to go along with it, and that's such a long way around. And so having a plan with one hand is great. That's great, and then being able to just accentuate what you're doing, and that's what I really enjoyed the most, is that because the left hand is so free to express itself, that I know what's coming with the melody, and so it gives the illusion like tar. Right.
Bravo. Cool. Well, listen. Go ahead.
I just want to reiterate, for me, I'm looking for the best of both worlds with this thing, and if you could, things don't have to be perfect, because if you wait for perfect, you'll never do anything. No one will ever hear your shit, right? You can never make it perfect. If it's 85%, 75%, you can get it in your head and through your fingers and out. That's better than being 100% perfect and nobody ever hearing anything.
Yeah, and yourself, I have to agree wholeheartedly, Kevin. Better done than perfect is my motto. It's just like it has to get done. Like, right, I can only play to a certain level, right? I'm not Steve Allison, right? Like, I'm not, you can't, not everyone's like Chopin, right? Like, you can just play as best you can, but you finish the song, right? Beginning, middle, end.
Right. Yeah. Like, don't kill yourself 100% perfect. You'll never get it, right? You'll never learn it. It'll never appear anywhere. No one will ever hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I look forward to doing more of the kind of the song learn sessions where we just look at one song at a time.
Yeah. Good idea.
Well, that's right. There's so many people who play songs so well in the stick. There's a wealth of people that hopefully some new faces, right? Because people are tired of you and me, man. And dudes. Cool. Well, listen. I wanted to make sure Jace or Boaz or Rob, if you have any other questions for Kev, let's fire them at him.
Oh, requests. So is he taking requests now?
Well,
questions.
I got a great request from you, Kevin, one that I have to revisit. And it was My Aim Is True. Right? Like by Elvis Costello. And that was one I would not have chosen. It's one that I miss that I need to really revisit. So going back to requests, you have my word. I'm going to go back and relearn that one because I got a good reaction when I played that.
It sounds really nice on the stick, man. Yeah.
Thanks.
I got a request. Sound of Silence.
Sound
of Silence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't play it right now.
Not right now. Just have it in your head.
That's a great call, Boaz. That's a great call. Like, I'm hearing what he's doing with Yesterday, and I was like, oh, man, hearing Sound of Silence in that same context with that, like, ripping left hand and those higher registers, that'd be great.
Yeah.
How about this?
Wow. Bravo.
I was working
I
on
can let you into it.
That's right out of the stick book.
Wow. That's in the stick book?
Yeah.
In which one?
It's
Right.
on Greg Howard's book. I was working on the same song lately.
Really? Okay. Okay, yeah, that one sounds great. And like how cool it must be to like be out like in, you know, a pub or cafe or club or wherever you are and to hit a request like that. That's pretty cool. Like then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, this guy, he's pretty good," you know? Like, you know, what and then like have a couple Beatles songs in you know, in your back pocket. That's great. That's great.
You want to hear anything else?
I used to live near Scarborough.
What?
You did?
So I used to live near Scarborough. It's freezing.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
Where are you at?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I live in Northern Ireland now, but I was originally from York
Okay.
in England.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for having me.
We've got the United States and someone from Ireland and someone from Israel and someone from Canada. It's a nice mix.
2 guys from Canada.
2 guys from Canada. That's right. Again. That's right. Canada wins. Canada wins. Oh my gosh.
Where's Jimmy?
Cool. Well, listen. I'll probably wrap it up right now. We'll keep it to an hour. It'll be great. Kevin, what a great session, man. Thanks for answering our questions and just putting on a clinic, man. Literally, it's a great song. It's a classic, and I can't wait to kind of sit down and watch this again and learn it. Out of curiosity, one last question: what are the pickup settings that you're using on your Passive 4? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm using. I go between using just these 2 top ones. And I'm not really, this is just the filter, I just find a juicy setting that I like, and once in a while I flip it back so I'm getting both the bridge and the neck, but I'm mostly playing with these, the neck pickups here.
You know, that is my exact preference. That is my exact preference. Is to use the neck position pickups, and then occasionally, like in the left hand or even in the right hand, split them. And it's fun to move it like in the middle of a song, like if you're playing a melody or you need some sort of differentiation. Somebody at Interlochen, I know we were just about to wrap up, but it brings up such a cool point about the Passive 4 in particular, is that somebody said your pickup sounds are too alike, right? They said I can't differentiate between, you know, what is playing what. Now this is coming from a stick player, right? So, but the way I would interpret that from a musician is that I can't hear the melody. I can't hear the singer, what the singer would be doing, and so there needs to be some differentiation there. And I'd never even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't think about it too much either. Maybe I should look into that.
Well, it was just like it's one of these things where you like hang out with stickists. They like bring up something you're like, would never have thought of that, right? Like, yeah, duh. So it just adds a little depth to what we do, just like this different approach. So.
Right.
I've taken to keeping the same settings on the pickup and I've got an SP2 preamp, and let that do the work instead, and that seems to work for me, because I find from rehearsal room to rehearsal room and stage to stage that you're tweaking the sound a lot in order to accommodate the room. So the preamp just works perfectly for that.
I see. Yeah. Right.
Cool. Yeah. Good. I've seen. Was it Randy? Mad Monk had one of those SP2s, and it was really great. And I think it goes in using a TRS cable, right? It goes in.
Yeah, there's a stereo cable in, and then you can then the stereo out. There's also a mono out as well. Or well, they call it 1+2.
I see.
And what I do, actually, I'll show you.
I have one
too.
You have an SP2.
You
I
have
have an SP2, man. Like.
I don't know if you can see the board.
There it is. Yeah, I
there
see
it is. Can you see it? Yeah, it's cool. Great piece of kit.
Are you feeding a single TRS cable in? Is that what you're doing? Like TRS to TRS? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, single stereo cable in. The original stick cable then goes out, and then I've got the melody side going through a bunch of effects, and the bass side just going through a phaser, which is usually kicked off most of the time. And then I mix down again, and the whole lot goes through a Danelectro Cool Cat chorus, just a touch, just to lift it a little bit. And then I've got 2 ditto pedals, so I can have 2 separate ambient loops going on at the same time.
Cool. We'll do some stuff on effects, man. Like, it's fun to hear. Because, I mean, I'm back into using a board, and Kevin does great with the HD500, so... What are you using for effects, Kev? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jace.
No, go ahead.
Kev, are you using the HD500 for this?
Yeah, but everything's off except the reverb.
Okay.
But, I use it and I split it like it's supposed to be split. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I don't really change up my too much though. I kind of find one sound and like there's just you could play with that thing for a year, right? I just find something I like and I leave it. I don't fuck around with it too much.
Well, yeah, and that's what I found when I was with 100. I would just have like 1 sound, 2 sounds, like just decent compression, a little bit of reverb. That's all I really like.
Yeah.
So when you do find that, it's great. You know.
Right.
Cool. So listen, I suppose we'll wrap it up. I just wanted to thank everyone again for making time. Rob, we're glad you're here, and Jace, it's good to finally hook up, and Boaz, thanks for keeping us on time and taking care of business. And Kevin, to you for sharing what you know here.
Yeah, we have homework.
Sorry?
What's that?
We have some homework to do.
That's homework. That's right. Sound of Silence. So there's the challenge,
Sure.
right? So, sound.
Well, I hope it helped everybody. I hope you can glean something from this. It's a good song. It's not too hard. It's 2.5 minutes, whatever. Hopefully I help you out. I don't know.
Absolutely. Great. Well, thanks, everyone. Happy Freelance Friday.
Thanks a lot, Gene. We'll see you next time, okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Bye.
out.
See you guys.